What's going on, everybody? Joe here from Excursion Cuts, and in tonight's installment of our color correction and color grading series, we're going to be talking about the orange and teal look. So if you're dipping your feet in color correction and color grading, and you've done some Google searches or some YouTube searches, you've no doubt heard about the orange and teal look. It's actually one of the more controversial looks in all of our, color schemes that we could reach for. And I'll tell you why in just a moment. But this look is very common in Hollywood films. Indie filmmakers are using it a lot, and it basically involves pushing your highlights towards orange and your shadows towards teal or blue. And the idea with it is, first of all, I should say that it is sound color theory. And here's what I mean. Let me go ahead and open up my color editor here. This is basically what it's going to look like on your color wheels. We're going to take our highlights and maybe even our midtones. We're going to push those towards the warmer hues, such as orange. Conversely, the shadows are going to be pushed in the opposite direction. So the teal and orange look is basically employing a color theory called complementary colors. We've got orange on one side of the color wheel, we've got blue and teal on the exact opposite side of the color wheel. Now, I did mention this look being a bit on the controversial side, and I think a lot of people who hate on this look hate on it for reasons that are fairly justified. I think most of the people who would malign this look would argue that it's overused. And I tend to agree with that, and it shows up frequently enough that it's actually kind of hard to associate a mood with it. I think I mentioned in one of my previous tutorials that the bleach bypass look almost became synonymous with war flicks, desaturated, high contrast, kind of lends that gritty terror feeling. But teal and orange doesn't really do that. I mean, you can see it in action movies, you can see it in dramas, you can see it in romance movies. Here's the thing with it. It is sound color theory. Here's what I mean. I mentioned in the very last tutorial in this series when we were discussing human skin color and human skin tone that people vary in skin tone, but we don't vary that much in color. People are orange. So right off the bat, if I'm doing any kind of color correction or color treatment to my footage, if I'm focusing on skin tone and trying to get that to fall within some sort of an accurate range, I'm going to be reaching for my highlights and my midtones and probably pushing those towards orange to get human skin to look orange. So now, right off the bat, if I'm going for a complementary color scheme, that almost forces me to push my shadows towards a cooler color. So looks will change and evolve. Color grading trends will change and evolve. One thing that's not going to change is the color of human skin. If we are adjusting skin color and skin tone, we are going to be pushing those towards orange. So it's understandable that people kind of fall into this rut where we're always applying this teal and orange look to our footage. So something to keep in mind that as you are treating your footage, I mentioned before, it's important to convey mood. Take your setting into account. Now this is I'm kind of cheating here because this is an outdoor scene. So I think, what may ultimately end up happening with something like this is, even though I've applied this teal and orange look, I can always move things a little bit warmer to kind of convey heat. Let's go a little bit more on the warmer side. And maybe I want to do something with those greens. Bring those out a little bit, make them brighter, more saturated. Same thing with blue. The water was pretty blue there. So this look is popular enough that I couldn't create a series on color correction and color grading without mentioning the orange and teal look. I'm going to close this out and just kind of show you guys something else. Just wanted to make you aware of it because, again, if you are going to be producing a lot of video, if you're going to be working and really trying to develop your color grading skills, this is something you're definitely going to have to be aware of. What I'm going to do right now is let's go over here to color. And I want to apply a LUT on top of what I've already done. And just to kind of prove a point, I'm going to browse. There is a LUT called M31. M as in Mary, the number 31. So I've applied this on here just to kind of give you guys an idea. This is a bit of an exaggerated example of the orange and teal look, but just to give you an idea, it makes sense. And honestly, if you look at it, I would probably decrease this a little bit, but it is pleasing to the eye, in my humble opinion. But that's the point. It's sound color theory. It should be pleasing to the eye. But does it help me convey the message I'm trying to convey? It has a very cinematic look, by the way. I will mention that this looks like a movie. So if you do a lot of corporate videos and those types of things, if you're doing advertisement, M31 is not a LUT you're probably going to reach for. And the orange and teal look in general is probably not something that you're going to be employing on a regular basis. That M31 LUT, by the way, is free. You can find it anywhere. Just Google it. Just slap it on your footage and take a look at it and just kind of see what it's doing, kind of understand it, and kind of think, what kind of message could I use this look to convey? You know, you can see what it's done to these rocks over here. I can't do this in Premiere, but if you were in Photoshop and you hovered your mouse over this rock, it would probably say it is teal. You know, it's blue, when in fact the rock was gray. And this vest of her, this is my daughter, this vest happens to be pink. It doesn't look anything like this. It doesn't look orange. Yeah, for travel photography, a lot of times I find myself really just trying to enhance the colors that were naturally present there in the scene for the sake of showing off a location. Obviously, if I'm in some tropical paradise, I really want to bring out the teals and the blues in the water and the deep blues in the sky and perhaps the oranges that are in the sand or the palm trees and whatnot. But, you know, in this particular shot, I don't think it fits. I don't think it really conveys the message that I was trying to send. Like I said, it's going to be important to understand this look, why everybody hates on it all the time, but you may find yourself reaching for it more often than you think, maybe perhaps in a more subtle way. You know, you could always take something like this and fade it a bit and see, you know, this is kind of a trendier thing that's going on right now as well. Anyway, hope you found this tip useful. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to Excursion Cuts to stay up to speed on my latest post. I'll see you guys next time.